This recording is of Lillian Gholson, spelled Lillian. Gholson is Gholson, and she's from Memphis, Tennessee. This is a oral history recorded on 4/18/2012.
I married in 1936, and that was when women couldn't work. And I was secretary of the Chamber of Commerce. I graduated in high school in 33, and pretty soon became secretary of the Chamber of Commerce, and secretary of the Lions Club, and secretary of the King's Daughters. Had a pretty good-sized job then for nothing.
You knew all the inside secrets then.
And I loved it. I loved it because I got to contact all the merchants every month. And, of course, planned the Lions Club meetings because we met around at different restaurants. And I went to meetings with them, and we had 12 directors of the Chamber of Commerce. But when I married, I had to retire because married women couldn't work.
I'll be honest.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
And the teachers could not teach if they were married. So that was a long time ago. Women have come forward since then, haven't they?
They certainly have.
Yes. But anyway, when I was small, we moved from Liberty Hill. I think I was born on my grandmother's farm. There at the joint of Leander and Liberty Hill and Georgetown Road. She had a big farm there. I think that's probably where I was born. And then when I was real little, about 4, I guess, we moved to Georgetown. That's when we moved in with the buggy. Now, I remember riding in the buggy. And the road was very rough, rocky. And we moved to Georgetown. So sometime during that time, my father became jailer and deputy sheriff, and we lived in the jail.
They're in the old jail there on top of it?
Yes. I slid down those banisters many times. I never walked down the very steps. And Mother and Daddy had the bedroom up over the kitchen. And I had the bedroom on the other side. We had a large bathroom. Downstairs we had a living room and dining room, and the kitchen where Mother cooked some beans. They had beans and cornbread. I tell you one thing: prisoners weren't encouraged to go to jail. We didn't have very many prisoners at a time.
Didn't have TV back then.
No, they had nothing but beans and cornbread for noon meal, and for breakfast, I can't remember. It seemed like they had some fat bacon and bread and molasses or something like that. No supper.
Oh, my goodness.
And on Sunday, they had stew. And it was put through the kitchen wall. You know how the jail is built with the big rocks, the big stones, through the wall.
So the part of that does look kind of like a house. That's the part you lived in.
What?
The front part of the jail there is where that kind of looks like a house there, being a home.
Yeah, and the food was put through a scuttle hole. We called it a scuttle hole. That's where your food was, cornbread and beans. Well, I think the beans had to be carried out in a big pot. They bought beans by the toe sack, and they measured them out, I believe, with a handful or double handful. I remember doing it, and put fat meat in it. We had a lot of interesting prisoners. And down in the cellar was where they put the stills when they raided. You sure didn't want to drink any liquor that was not pure.
No, it kind of be anything in it.
Yeah, and then the prisoners were taken out every morning, chained to the ankle, and they were put to work on the roads, cleaning ditches and building little culverts and so forth. They worked.
I guess.
And they would take them out and they chained them to the ankles. I've seen that. Then we lived there when the Ku Klux Klan. I was small. I was under school age when the Ku Klux Klan were very active, and they came to the jail one evening to get a prisoner to tar and feather him. Well, during the day, Daddy and the sheriff had spirited him away, and I remember going down to the door with Mama. When they knocked on the door, wanting to know if Daddy was there, and she told them no, and she didn't know where he was. So during that time, somebody went around and talked to a prisoner, and they told him that the prisoner had been spirited away. He wasn't there. But they came from miles and miles around dressed in their robes. Huge. It was a mob, what they called a mob.
Ku Klux Klan.
The Ku Klux. The second time I saw the Ku Klux was at the Baptist church, and the First Baptist Church, and they had a tabernacle. And I was there with my aunt and uncle and their child. We were very close. And they came down the aisle. Now, I don't know what they came for, but they were going down, marching down the aisle up to the front. And my aunt said, "Oh, I recognize those shoes." And my uncle, I could hear him say it now, "Hush, Beulah. You don't want me to be picked up." So I don't know what they were doing. Isn't that odd? I can't remember. But I remember them going down the aisle and all that.
Was that before the big trial?
What? The big trial?
Oh, you know, where they tarred and feathered that guy and almost...
Well, now this, they tarred and feathered somebody, didn't they? A Burleson over near Taylor? And I've seen the cross that they burned. But now, I was too small to know exactly what was taking place.
This is back when, like, before you were about, like, 12 or 10?
Oh, no, I must have been, I wasn't school age.
Oh.
Probably. See, I didn't start to school. My birthday fell in August, so I didn't get to start to school like the others did when they were school age. I had to wait a year.
This would be the late 20s then, you think?
The 20s. Do you have the date of the flood? Is that 21 or 22?
Yeah, somewhere in that area,
Well, that's how old I was, because I hadn't started to school, because I went to Taylor. They took us to Taylor. They didn't have a hospital in Georgetown. And Dr. Vaughn removed my tonsils. And while we were there, they had the big flood that washed away the North and South San Gabriel bridges. And the bridge at Taylor, Texas.
1921.
21, okay. Well, I had not started to school then.
But you can remember the Ku Klux Klan? And
I remember this. I remember those. I must have been around 6 years old, something like that.
That must have been pretty scary then.
Yeah. Boy, you couldn't help but remember it. We stood up in the bathroom and watched the cars come from miles. Mother now. We were scared to death. And Daddy had given Mother the key to the jail. And he said, "You can do what you want to with it." So she hid it in a quilt box in their bedroom. But they never did ask her if she had a key. And my mother never told a lie. She would have told them. But, so, I do remember them very vividly. They were very active.
How long was your dad jailer there?
Let's see. We lived in the jail. Let's see. We still lived in the jail when I was in grammar school, because I walked from grammar school down to the jail for lunch and going back and forth to school.
What school did you go to?
Where's one? Oh, the big rock building up on the, I don't know if it's still there or not, but it was the only grammar school I had. It was a big rock stone building. And I entered the first grade there, and it went through the 6th, because the 7th grade you moved over to the high school. There on the main street, you know, the one that, I don't know what the street's name was. It's still there. But it's not the school now. They built a school over across the river somewhere. I've been over there. I went to my 50th school anniversary, and we went to the new school.
So I guess you were downtown a lot then, 'cause that's just real.
Oh yes. I can tell you all about the people downtown. Now, I do want to tell you, since this is the 100th anniversary of the Girl Scouts,
yes,
I have my uniform. Just a minute. Eleanor Roosevelt chose a pattern and a material, which was khaki colored, and a bolt of material was sent to the store where you buy goods. It was on the corner. I can't think of the name of it. And buttons and everything, and the pattern. And my mother made my uniform, and I still have it. And it has been used here in Memphis at one time for something. And so that would make me, and I went to the Girl Scout camp at Barton Springs. And one of the teachers, Culberson, Culberson, was a Girl Scout leader, along with another teacher that I can't remember her name. And we were taught all kinds of things, how to make up hospital beds, and we participated in a lot of things. But I still have my uniform.
How old were you back then?
I was probably, they didn't have brownies and all that, so I probably was between 8 and 9 years old.
Oh, okay. So they taught you how to be a young woman then?
It taught me a lot of things that I'll never forget. We learned to bathe somebody in the bed. We went over to by that time, the hospital had been built. Dr. Martin, there was two brothers, there's two Martins who built the hospital. And she worked there too. The wife was a nurse.
Is that right here in Georgetown then?
All this took place in Georgetown. All this took place. Miss Annie Pearl was my first grade teacher. Nearly everybody had her. And we had the raising of the flag every morning outside and saluted. Then we sang America, and we had prayer. And also, you'll be amused with this. She always checked you because to drink coffee was very, very bad. And Mother and Daddy let me have a glass of milk, and they would pour a little coffee in it. It would just be tinted, and I thought I was drinking coffee. Oh, I felt so guilty. And anyway, Miss Willie Sansom was a second grade teacher, and I remember, and I don't know whether one of the twins is still living or not, but Ari and J.D. Logan were twins. Is he still living in the nursing home?
I'm not sure.
Now, I talked to him 2 or 3 years, maybe a couple of years ago, and he didn't know anything. He didn't know anything. He didn't know anybody to talk about. I asked him about different students, but he was in a nursing home.
It all slipped away.
And I don't know. No, I just think he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything exciting, and he was the same age I was. But now he may still be living. And I have a phone number that I called him, but I haven't called him because he didn't know anybody. My double cousin's husband had the Quacksburg soda place where you went in to get sodas.
They're on a square?
Yeah, they're on the square. And next door to him was Burkhart newspaper place. Carl Burkhart. And on that same street was Wilcox Jewelry Store on that same block. And Steve Goodlett had the theater. Now that was when I was real young
A movie theater?
He had a movie theater. It was on the corner. You know those steps that go up the side of that building, iron metal steps?
Oh yeah.
That was the theater.
Oh, upstairs?
Yeah, no, downstairs.
Down?
Steve Goodlet and his mother lived upstairs.
Okay.
And I was a friend of a friend's mother who visited Steve's mother, and I've been up there many, many times. And he gave us the flicks from movies, which I should have kept. But at that theater, I saw Tom Mix, I saw Alive, and I saw the Buster Brown Shoes. They were from Austin. And it seems to me like there was somebody else. I haven't searched that very much. But anyway, that was all those people. And then I don't know what year it was, but there was Al White put in a dry goods store.
On the same block there?
On that same block. Now, on the chamber was on that same block, but it was around the corner to the far left. And you know where the standpipe is?
Yeah.
Well, the Chamber of Commerce office was along there. And Mr. Ward, R.E. Ward, see, all this is coming to me this morning, was the city manager. And that was for, I guess, paid your utilities. I'm not sure. But anyway, across the street was McInnes Drugstore and eating place like a soda fountain and sandwiches and things. And Skeezix was a cook, I guess, or the manager. And on the next block on around was Billy Hoffman's store. It was for men. For men.
Would you know the name of it? Remember the name of it?
No, all I know is Hoffman's.
Oh, okay.
Hoffmans.
Were the streets paved then? Were they still dirt?
Around the courthouse, I believe they were paved. Now, I lived there and was a little girl when they had built the highway from Georgetown to Austin. I remember going to Austin when it was muddy and had ruts, and people were sliding all over the road because it rained.
Yeah, it'd take you all day to get down there then.
I guess so. But see, I just remember how horrible it was. We were so afraid we were going into the ditch.
So that new road was paved?
Later, the road was paved. That was when I was with the chamber. That would have been after 33. The road was paved because the CWA, the WPA, and the NYA all had headquarters in the chamber. So I was familiar with all that. And we had to furnish, the people would come in, apply, and we'd put everything on a card as to what their trade was. So if the highway department needed, let's see, what did you call them? Mule skinners or whatever you use on the road, they would come in, and then we would get out and contact these people. You didn't have telephones everywhere. These people didn't all have telephones, so you had to get out and locate them.
So did the road end at Georgetown then?
The road was paved from Georgetown to Austin. That was when it was paved.
That was a big improvement. So when did remember them putting the railroad in?
There was
a railroad.
No, the railroad was there. The railroad station was there. And, let's see. We were living in the jail when the last scaffold was built in Texas.
Oh, the hanging.
They were going to hang a Mexican. The scaffold was built in the corner of the place where they held the prisoners, next to his cell. And they told him all the time he was going to hang him, but he didn't communicate. So then, and I don't know how old I was, but I wasn't very old, because when the doctor came to examine him, They were going to see if he was insane or not. And this will amuse you. You'll laugh. Of course, I was a daddy's girl. I was always with him. So I was there when the doctor was there, and they had him cross his legs, and you know how you take your hand and hit it under your knee? And I don't know whether his leg jumped or didn't jump, but they declared him insane, and I thought that any time you cross your leg and they hit you there, that you were crazy. See how young I was? So anyway, he was declared insane, and then he was put in the asylum. Now, he was on a train from San Antonio to Laredo, and he jumped up and cut some throats. That's the reason they tried him, friends. That was the reason he was in jail. But we had a lot of interesting people. We had Leahy, who was electrocuted later. And, another amusing thing, Governor Dan Moody gave me my first pair of shoes.
I'll be done.
Now then, I have 2 history books. I want to know if, will you hold on while I move to another room?
No problem.
Okay.